So earlier this morning, Netflix did a crazy reveal here and dropped this poster for an upcoming documentary about Vince McMahon called Mr. McMahon. It's coming out September 25th. Says here, Mastermind Madman on Netflix. Now, if you've been following wrestling, this should not really be huge news to you because this documentary, this Netflix documentary, has been in the works now for years. I mean, I remember hearing about this maybe, I want to say when we were coming out of the pandemic or when we were going in. I don't exactly remember when, but I know for a long time there's been talk of there being two McMahon documentaries, one done by Vice and then one done by Netflix. But the Netflix one, and I don't remember which is which, but I believe the story was that the Netflix one was going to be a bit more of a fluff piece. However, I'm not sure how true that is because if you look at this poster here from the executive producer Bill Simmons and Chris Smith, executive producer of Tiger King. So, Bill Simmons is obviously a respected sports journalist who is known, I would say, primarily for basketball. He has a podcast called The BS Report, or at least he used to. I'm not sure if he still has that because I haven't followed Bill Simmons in a while. I was following him when I was deep into the NBA a few years ago, but I'm not as into it anymore as I used to be. But he's definitely a credible journalist. I think with the recent events, like what happened back in January when the Janelle Grant lawsuit started, when all of that information got out, those text messages, basically all the stuff that led to Vince McMahon having to resign from WWE. I feel like that if they were going for a fluff piece, that has to change. Because even though we don't have all the details yet and they haven't actually gone to court yet, it seems like that this whole court case with Janelle Grant and Vince, I don't even know how long this is going to take. Obviously, many of you guys know that the legal system can work very slow. And a lot of times when you try to take a wealthy person to court, all they do is figure out tricks to postpone the case. They file injunctions to make you serve up paperwork, and this goes on for a while. The strategy is that when somebody has more money than you, they can use their lawyers to postpone the case, therefore draining you of your money that you're paying your lawyers. And then when that happens, eventually you can't afford the attorney anymore and you have to give up. This is something that wealthy people have done for years. I'm not saying Janelle Grant is going to fall for that or be trapped by that, but bottom line is these cases take a long time. It's one of those things where this documentary, because Bill Simmons is in charge, I feel a little bit better about it. I don't really feel, that it's I don't think it'll be that much of a fluff piece anymore. However, it's interesting because it's on Netflix, and that is, of course, going to be the new home for Monday Night Raw and the new home for WWE Network as a whole because they're moving for the international version. They're moving all of the WWE Network content on Netflix for the international versions. The North America is still going to be on Peacock. But I do look forward to seeing this documentary. I think I will be covering it. I'm pretty sure that I will be here on the channel. At this point, though, Mastermind Madman, like at this point, you can talk about the good things Vince has done. You can talk about the accomplishments he's had in his life. All of that makes sense. But you can't avoid the dark side of Vince McMahon. You can't avoid the steroid trial. You can't avoid the early 90s allegations of sexual misconduct by WWF employees, and you certainly can't ignore what's going on now. But at the same time, because this is coming out now, it does make you wonder if there's going to be a follow-up documentary in a few years once this court case ends. Because that's really going to be that's going to really determine what Vince McMahon's legacy is going to be. These guys, man, guys like Vince McMahon, these entrepreneurs that build these businesses, they do a lot of things that are admirable, but then they go and get caught up in a scandal and it gets revealed that they're scumbags, like Harvey Weinstein, for example, and they just crush their entire legacy. Their entire legacy is just crushed. So, and hey, look, he's the one that was like this. He's the one that made these mistakes. I'm very curious to see if this is going to be a fair documentary, if it'll be non-partial, or if it'll be a fluff piece. I'm going to assume it won't be because Bill Simmons is there, but I do look forward to seeing it because, like I said, this has been talked about for a while. This has been like, remember a few years ago when Shane McMahon was invited to go to WrestleMania that one year, and people thought he was going to be like a surprise at Mania. It was only a couple years ago, but it was actually done to shoot segments for a documentary. I believe it was this one. So, man, I'm very curious about this. We'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments what you think about this upcoming Mr. McMahon documentary. Anyways, man, have a good one. See you soon.